Well, good morning everyone, and welcome to Nazareth Contemplative Prayer on this very beautiful morning. It really is a very special November autumnal morning, and I'm in Battersea Park, which is a most wonderful park, so full of diversity, so full of things to discover. And I'm going to be walking around Battersea Park with you this morning. But before I do, let me just share these words from Meister Eckhart. How can you act like God? What a thing to even suggest. I will tell you. Gaze like the angels do upon the riches of creation, including your neighbour, including you. Gaze like the angels do on the riches of creation, including your neighbour, including you. Well, today is a wonderful day to gaze upon the riches of creation and gaze on your neighbour as you walk around this park. There's the whole diversity of the human race here. And what better place to start this than at the Peace Pagoda. I mean, here in the centre of London, there you are. There we have a Buddhist Peace Pagoda. Let's begin by thanking our Buddhist brothers and sisters for their example that they give us in meditation and meditative practice. I came here yesterday to this Peace Pagoda, and it's a place which has become a place for all kinds of activities. There were people dancing in the square in front. There were people playing tennis, ball games, skipping, all kinds of things. There's the serene Buddha, Siddhartha, looking out over the River Thames. I've never regretted my own path, my Christian tradition, because it's Christ who is my teacher and my guide, my way, my truth, my life. And yet I always think that we can learn so much from those of other faith. And from the Buddhists, I've learnt so much about the contemplative practice. The thing about contemplation and Buddhist detachment is it's not a cold-hearted sort of detachment that forgets the world or kind of tries to escape from the world. True meditative practice is about a detachment that sets you free to love, a lack of grasping, an inner freedom. There's Siddhartha, the Buddha, lying down at the end of his life after 50 years of teaching, and the whole of creation giving thanks for the teaching and the example that he's given to them, and preparing to go out and to live his teaching and to live the way that he's taught them. And here we are on the Peace Pagoda. There's some people doing boxing on the Peace Pagoda. Takes all sorts of entertainment. And as I was saying, this place is used by all different types of sporting activity, running and skipping and all kinds of exercise. I'm going to use it for walking this morning. Walking with you. Gazing upon creation with the eyes of God. Think of God the way God gazes upon creation and all that is good. And gaze with me this morning, because there's some wonderful things to see in this park. First of all, this row of street lamps I love, as you know if you've been on my other walks, I love these street lamps. We're walking towards the Albert Bridge. This is the park between the Albert Bridge and Chelsea Bridge. And it's a park full of diversity. Just going back to what I was saying about that Buddhist teaching. Buddhist teaching, in fact, give us many insights into ways to live our lives. The path that I've learnt from Buddhist teaching is this idea of letting go of all that we grasp or all the material things that we hold on to, which actually keep us from loving God with the freedom and with the breadth and the openness that we might be able to when we let go of all the things that we hold on to. And the idea that real compassion is not pity, it's not patronizing. Real compassion is a reciprocity, is a relationship that we enter into. And equanimity or spaciousness of heart is not a indifference. It's an embracing of the whole world. So when people create this division between contemplation and action, it's nonsense. Because when you begin to contemplate the world, when you begin to see the world in greater detail, then I think your heart softens. You become more compassionate. Think of the political leaders of our times, mentioning no names, but when you become more rigid and inflexible and full of pride, when you grasp and compete and seek always to win, then you lose your compassion. You lose your ability to empathize with the world, with your neighbour. And the squirrels are with us. Did you see the squirrel running along the top of that wall? Now, I'm going to take you into this marvellous garden. Just look at the colours of that maple tree as we enter into what is called the English garden. Through the gates. Now, I will forgive you for not knowing that this garden is here, but it's a lovely little, beautiful, walled garden full of rather overgrown, dying flowers and roses and colour. And I came here yesterday, it was really exciting. And people were just sitting here reading and resting. And it's an incredible little discovery. It's like the secret garden of your childhood. See the sun, rising sun filtering through here. There's a beautiful little fountain in the courtyard there. I remember reading Tom's Midnight Garden. Well, this is the kind of garden I would imagine in Tom's Midnight Garden, the secret garden of you can discover. And these wonderful paths and lattice works of overgrown growth. I'd love to come here in the summer, but something special about it in autumn too, with those autumnal colours. It was lovely coming here yesterday and seeing a girl just reading the whole afternoon in here. Another few words from Meister Eckhart. In times of doubt I forget that you are not a God of thoughts to be found in concepts and theories, but you are the source of my life and the radiance that shines forth in all. You shine forth in all that is, and then I remember, mine is the work of learning to see you as the radiance that shines forth in all that is, even in the dark, even in my neighbour, even in me. Okay, I could sit with you for this whole next half hour in this little English garden, but there's so much more to see, so come with me. It really is one of those incredibly beautiful mornings that we've had just before the summer, but this is autumn, and you can smell that smell of autumn, which is one of the most exciting smells of the year. And coming out now of the walled garden, the English garden, into the sunlight, and I hope you can see that incredible sunlight we're walking into, blinding me, and we're walking across the lawns here towards an avenue of maple trees. I probably can't see the full glory of their colour yet, but they look like the flaming bush, which made Moses step aside. That wonderful poem, in a bright field, that causes us, the flaming bush that causes us to step aside. There they are. Oh Lord, you are my God, I will seek you early. I will seek you in all things. I will seek you in the autumn. I will seek you in the colour of the trees. I will seek you in the people that walk by me. I will seek you even in times of struggle and difficulty. I will seek you in the sound of the leaves and the rustle and the colour and the glory of this morning. Oh Lord, I will seek you early. Just walk silently with me along this path, because it's the most beautiful of mornings, as if God is almost giving it to us as a gift. Thank you, Canada, for your gift of the maple tree. Now, Battersea Park was opened by Queen Victoria. I think it was in 1854. And it's a park that seems to include everything. It's got football pitches, it's got hockey pitches, it's got a bowling green, it's got a small zoo for children to come to, it's got a boating lake, it's got a bandstand, it's got a festival area which was originally created for the Festival of Britain in 1952. And all football lovers will be interested to know that this is the Football Association where the first Football Association game was ever played in Battersea Park. I think it was in 1864. And they played the first football game here. So we have Battersea Park to thank for the first rules of football that were inaugurated here. There's a wonderful bandstand. But I'm going to take you to the lake, which I think is especially wonderful. I hope I don't get lost. This is the main walk, but you couldn't walk down here yesterday because they were making a film, so I'm not quite sure if this goes to the place I want it to go, but it's lovely to get lost in a London park. O Lord, you are my God, I will seek you early. I will seek you in all things. Now over here is the pump house, which has become an art gallery. And the pump house has now become an art gallery, but originally this area of land used to be marshland, and it was reclaimed in the 19th century for this park. And it was before then, it was apparently a place where people used to fight their duels in those days, when people used to sort out their strife and their problems by shooting at each other. The Duke of Wellington and Earl of Winchester in 1829 apparently had a famous duel here, but ended up not killing each other, thank goodness. But these were low, fertile marshes, and there was a lime and a kiln and a chemical works and a notorious tavern near Battersea, where now the Battersea power station used to be. And that tavern was called the Red House Tavern, apparently frequented by Charles Dickens. And this park was set out by Sir James Penthorne, who designed Regent's Park. And what I love, there's the pump house, but what I love about this park is that it's always surprising. In other words, you think it's a bit municipal in places, and then suddenly it's not municipal at all. It goes into a kind of wild area. And I've been reading about the way landscape gardeners designed so that you're always surprised. You sort of come round from behind a tree and then you're surprised by the view that opens up. So you're constantly being called to look and to observe and to see. Look at those reflections of autumn on the surface of the water there. Oh Lord, you are my God. I will seek you early. I will see you in the reflections on the water. I will see you in the colours of the leaves. I will see you in the smell of autumn. I will see you in those I pass. Good morning. Again, I know I go on about this, but look at the colour of autumn. I mean, you know, when children are asked what colour are the leaves, they say, oh, they are green. But how many shades of green and yellow and brown and bronze and gold can you see? I've got this park almost to myself this morning. Oh Lord, you are my God. I will seek you early. I came here to explore yesterday, thinking, oh, is this a place I could bring you today? And I ended up spending the whole day here just getting lost in this park. It is an amazing place. And the sunset here was absolutely majestic last night as well. Friday is my day off. I wasn't just skiving, you know, but it was my day of rest, my Sabbath Friday. This wonderful wooden bridge that we're coming to is a tunnel of light. Now, would you believe that colour there? That's the colour of autumn for you. Would you believe that we're 10 minutes walk from the old Battersea power station, which has been redeveloped? This has become a wildlife sanctuary. And what a wildlife sanctuary. I hope today that all of you will have the chance to smell the smells and see the colours and hear the sounds of autumn. I know I've been waxing lyrical about the wonder of grey, but isn't it beautiful too when the sunlight does come out and everything is thrown into this glorious morning light? Look at the sunlight through the grasses there. Oh Lord, you are my God, I will seek you early. You revive my soul. God, with the week we've just had with that lockdown in this country and American politics filling us all with fear, you need to return to God to be replenished, to be healed, and to become compassionate again to a world that sometimes seems to have gone crazy, or at least a White House that seems to have gone crazy. Oh Lord, you are my God, I will seek you early. And we pray for that world. We pray for all those in our nation who are frightened and overwhelmed by feelings of isolation and loneliness. All those who are scared for relatives, longing to see those they love. All those who are worried about their jobs and their income. We pray that, stripped of all these things that we've depended upon, we can begin to see again the eternal gifts of God around us, the eternal wonder of all that has been given free to us. Oh Lord, you are my God. I will seek you early. Good morning, good morning. What a lovely morning, isn't it? Absolutely incredible. One of the things I try to do is to, if you're walking by yourself, which I often do, is to actually pray for the people you are walking past. Just as the trees and the leaves and the plants and the grass and the water are all the gifts of God, so are people too. And I always love to see the clothes they're wearing and the way, the complete diversity of this city. It's just amazing. Who would want to change it? Last week, a young refugee from Afghanistan came to our refugee group. It was his first day at the refugee group, and all he wanted to do was help. And he put on all the PPE and cleaned all the showers so that people could have showers safely, and worked for 3 or 4 hours. I'd never met him before. It was his first day at the international group, and you know, I expected him just to be a guest. And there he was, just looking after everybody. And then he wrote to me, and I thanked him at the end. And then he wrote to me and said, that was the best day of my time in London. Just helping us. You know, when we release people's goodness, when we see their goodness and we allow it to flourish, when we bloom where we're planted, then our world becomes a place with enough for all to live in peace and to live prosperously. I'm 24 years old, escaping from the violence of Afghanistan, crossing the whole of Europe, crossing into this country, waiting for asylum, unknowing what's going to happen to you, and yet longing to serve, longing to belong, longing to share his goodness with others. Lord, Lord, you have made us for yourself, and our hearts are restless until we rest in you. I have to say I am lost now. I was hoping to take you to the new Battersea power station, but I'm lost in the woods. Excuse me, do you know where Battersea Power Station is? Which direction? It's this way. Thank you ever so much. I got completely lost in all those paths in the woods. A bit like when I was in Dulwich with my brother. But they are easy to lose yourself in all those paths. Well, I hope you'll bear with me if you have to go off and make breakfast and do other things. Please leave us. But for those who are able to walk with me a bit further, we're hopefully going to walk towards Battersea Power Station. Oh, there we are. You can see it on the horizon there. At least I hope you can see it. That used to use so much coal and supply all the electricity of London. And now they've created this huge sort of new development which just is mind-blowing. Let's hope people move back into London or it will be derelict. It's absolutely massive development. stay with me and walk with me through this incredible morning. But if you need to go off and do other things, then God bless you, and may you enjoy the beauty of this autumnal day. Even in lockdown, God never locks us down. God uses those times of lockdown to set us free, perhaps. Free to discover again the true treasures of our lives, the burning bush that we've walked past without realizing. Lord, you are my God. I will seek you early. I will seek you like a young puppy dog, running off to play. My dear brother Daniel is getting a puppy today. He looks after my mother as well as doing a full-time job. And they haven't had a dog for 2 years, but he's bought a puppy, so it's a great day of love, and puppies bring such love. Jack Cornfield, the Buddhist spirituality teacher, he says our prayers are a bit like puppy dogs. They keep on running off from us, and we keep on getting distracted by so many different things. Every time we try and pray about God, our minds get pulled away, a bit like a puppy dog running off in all directions to pray. And each time we are called to call our prayers back, a bit like you call a puppy dog back, or gently lift the puppy dog back and place the dog by your side, so that you can slowly train the dog to sit still and to be with you and to become attentive to you. And that's really like prayer. We keep on letting our thoughts wander, and then we call our thoughts back gently, placing our thoughts back by our side, gently stilling ourselves again, and slowly, over time, we begin to become better at contemplative prayer. We become more aware of God and less aware of self. And we allow God's greatness to infuse all that we are. Nearly getting run over by a runner. O Lord, you are my God. I will seek you early. In every colour and every creed, in every nation, in every part of your incredible creation. I will seek you early. And as I seek you early, I will let go of all my prejudices and preoccupations and learn to be open to you again. Well, we're coming out onto the Thames, so I am going in the right direction. And we're going to be walking this last little bit along the Thames so that we can see the new development of Battersea Power Station together. And beyond Battersea Power Station, we have the American Embassy. And so, of course, we are really holding in our prayers today the United States of America, financially, militarily, in so many ways, the most influential country in Western civilization at the moment, and yet so divided. We pray for a greater unity for that nation. We pray for a greater transparency and integrity, and an end to all the spin and the deceit and the fake news. Just as we walk down this road and you see all these people coming towards us from every different ethnic origin. How wonderful is that, to be in a city like this, to be in a nation like this. There's Chelsea Bridge. O Lord, you are my God, I will seek you early. I will seek you in the flowing of the river. I will seek you in the leaves that fall and through which I walk. I will seek you in the people who pass me by. I will seek you in your seasons of the year. I will seek you in the light and in the shade. I will seek you in the morning and in the evening. For all things belong to you, and of your own do we give you. The runners are back in force. Oh, to be able to run like that. And another thing we pray for at the moment is that Paris climate change agreement that was made, and that we pray that will be upheld, because this creation has been entrusted into our care. We have parks like this because human beings have nurtured them, because they've cared for creation, because they've wanted the inhabitants of our towns and cities to see the wonder and the glory of the natural world, to actually experience not just the grind and the grime and the tension and the stress, but actually the wonder of the world. And we pray that we will preserve, just as has been entrusted to us, all of this for the future and more, that we will go on conserving and preserving and taking greater care of this natural world of ours. You can't just think about profit. You can't just think about your own nation's interest. We are so intimately connected with one another. If this coronavirus has taught us anything, it's taught us how connected we are. And now here we are, coming into the city, central part of Vauxhall and beyond, and this huge new development that's actually at the moment standing quite empty, because all the restaurants and the new places of consumerism are not really able to open at the moment. But it's an incredible new development. Talk about human ingenuity to transform a power station into a whole new complex. Admittedly, a lot of it for the very rich. On Thursday this last week, many of you may have heard that we were meant to be holding the vigil for all those who had died homeless in London. And because we were unable to hold a gathering, we just created a cross of flowers and read out the names of those who had died homeless on the streets from the steps of St. Martin's. You can see it on this Facebook site. And I read out over 75 names, and what struck me and Catherine as we were reading the names is how young so many of them were. And the fact that so many of them were names from other countries, other backgrounds, who had come to this country seeking a place of safety, seeking a safer place of belonging. The fact that the average age of those dying on our streets is 48 years old. And I see it all around me, around Trafalgar Square. The vulnerability and the struggles that people face. So, of course, our hope and our prayer is that a country will be judged not just by the way it can build these massive, massive new developments, which are astonishing, but also by the way it cares for its most vulnerable members, the way by which it shares its wealth. And there we are. There's Battersea power station, as was, now becoming part of this massive new complex. It's really rather beautifully designed outside here with these beautiful pools of flowing water. I'm going to finish our meditation by looking that way. I don't know whether you can see it. It's closed, the coral jetty here. But on the other side of this complex is the United States of America High Commission. It looks a bit like a building covered in bubble wrap. Oh, there it is, there it is, there it is, right in front of us. It's the building straight in front of us that has all those kind of pods on the outside. Don't know whether you can see it, but that's the American Embassy. A really beautiful landscape building as well. So let's end by praying for the United States of America. Praying for this election. Praying for an end to the division, the hatred, the anger, the pain. And a new politics, a politics that recognizes the common good, the gift that every single person has to offer, the realization that a nation is judged not just by its wealth and the size of its buildings, but by the way it treats its most vulnerable, by its integrity, by its relationship with its neighbors and with the whole world. And we pray that we may learn to love our neighbor as we love ourselves. Return again and again, for how quickly we forget the presence of God. But nothing can separate us from God's love. How quickly we demand our share of the inheritance and lose ourselves in foreign lands and the land of possession. We too must come to our senses. All we are searching for, we already have. It's been given to us by God. It's not beyond us in the never, never land. God is here and now, watching and waiting for us to return. When you think you've lost your path, beneath all your fears, God says to you, I am here. When you think meaning is gone, Christ is that meaning. When you think truth is hard to find, Christ is that truth. When even love seems a bitter thing, Christ will take that bitter cup from you, and hope will arise, even in the very places you deemed hopeless. Learn to hope in God even more in times of the impossible. Learn to hope in God's grace, even when the rules of the world cry out that our values have no currency. Learn to hope in God's love, even when you feel the claw of despair. Hope as tender and as ephemeral as a new shoot of grass. As tender and as ephemeral as a garden planted in the midst of a new housing and development complex. Hope, even side by side with the power of Battersea power station, a power even greater. the power of God.